we are live. Well, thanks everybody for joining us this evening. We will begin our open session with the approval of tonight's agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? Any disclosures of interest? We have one, Councillor McGrath on bylaw 48-2019. No other disclosures this evening. We have no delegations. So we're going to resolution number 384-19, moved by Councillor Stefurek, seconded by Councillor Kraus, that the minutes of the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting held November 26, 2019 be accepted as circulated. All those in favor? Resolution number 385-19, moved by Councillor Mullins, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that Council accept the quotation from Strongo in the amount of $16,057.03 plus applicable taxes for the repair to the sander box conveyor assembly and the front tilt assembly of the plow truck. All those in favor? Resolution number 386-19, moved by Councillor Stefurek, seconded by Councillor Kraus, that Council accept the quotation from Best Buy in the amount of $949.98, excluding applicable taxes, for the purchase of a 16-channel 2 dB DVR system, 10 5MP bullet cameras, and 4 packs of 100-foot video cable to upgrade the security camera system at the recreation complex.
I have one question for that we didn't bring up last week. Who's doing the installation? And do we have a price for it? Price for the installation of those cameras?
The last time we got a set like that, we installed them ourselves.
Okay, so there is no extra thing, because I was looking, I just only thought about it last week.
That's for both buildings?
Well, normally Ray does a lot of those kind of installations, eh? It can be 16 cameras, could take a couple days. So.
Come to think of it,
Yeah.
we'll see when we get all the cameras.
Yeah.
Both buildings, Dave?
Just
must be, because there's a lot of them.
yeah, it must
16,
be. Yeah, 16 of it. Yeah, at the rec center and the arena.
Right.
So all in favor then? Carried. Resolution number 387-19, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that the North Shore Harvest Cupboard be approved for a grant in aid in the amount of $2,000 to support the Christmas hamper campaign. All those in favor? Resolution number 388-19, moved by Councillor Kraus, seconded by Councillor Stefurek, that Council accept the fixed price quotation from Superior Propane in the amount of 0.5450 cents per liter, excluding applicable taxes, and annual tank rental of $1,250, excluding applicable taxes, for the supply of propane for the period of December 1, 2019 to November 30th, 2021. All those in favor? Resolution number 389-19, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that council approve the attendance of all members of council at the senior and elected officials workshop and tabletop exercise for the emergency management plan, to be held December the 11th, 2019 in Schreiber, and that expenses be paid as per township policy. All those in favor? Carried. Resolution number 390-19, moved by Councillor Stefurek, seconded by Councillor Kraus, that checks issued on the general bank account in the month of November 2019 in the amount of $655,065.15 for general accounts payable be approved and ratified. All those in favor? Resolution number 391-19, moved by Councillor Mullins, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that bank debits issued on the general bank account in the month of November 2019 in the amount of $50,823.09 for payroll be approved and ratified. All those in favor? Resolution number 392-19, moved by Councillor Kraus, seconded by Councillor Stefurek, that council approve the attendance of K. Mullins at the Superior Country 43rd Annual Meeting held November 28, 2019 in Thunder Bay, and that expenses be paid as per township policy. All those in favor? Resolution number 393-19. This is where you have the conflict, but you moved the...
So, yeah, I was thinking about that as we went along here, so,
maybe we need to get another mover, I believe.
Should have it.
Yeah. I'm not sure who seconded it, but...
Mooney did.
I did. It's across. Oh. He's not declaring it. Okay, resolution number 393-19, moved by Councillor Stefurek, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that bylaw 48-2019, being a bylaw to authorize the Township of Schreiber to enter into an agreement with the Ontario Trillium Foundation for funding support for the A6 Access to Picnic Table Lookout Upgrade Phase 1, ID number CP 105716, be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. All those in favor?
What's the date of the project?
Very interesting, I guess they're gonna...
well, it'll be next year.
Yeah, and obviously they do it in the spring or something.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know if there's a...
There's no date, no firm date.
No.
Imagine if there was a zip line from A6 down to Schreiber Beach,
Would that be cool?
right?
And then a somewhat kind of buggy to get you back up for those.
I thought of putting one on top of the water tower. Down to the parking lot.
Yeah.
You gotta hike back up again.
Yeah, that's a problem. I'd love to go down, but I don't know.
One-way trip.
Seriously.
Yeah. Crazier things have been done and it works out. People love that.
Resolution number 394-19, moved by Councillor Mullen, seconded by Councillor Kraus, that bylaw 49-2019, being a bylaw to set rates and fees for water and sewer services, be given first, second, third, and final reading and enacted. All in favor?
Question, what's considered a large employer? Or should I go see Marlene?
Yeah, there is a number.
Pardon?
Or accounts receivable, accounts payable clerk.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a certain number, but I can't remember what it is.
A large employer.
In what context are you talking about, like for large employers?
The rates.
The sewer rate, water and sewer rate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good report. It just caught my eye. I like the breakdown.
Yeah, last Marlene and
Yeah,
got it defined.
yeah.
Okay, that'll bring to a close the council session. And we'll move into the committee of the whole with our department reports. Community Economic Development report.
So construction is continuing. Don't know how they're doing it because it's really cold, and the electrical tie-in is still scheduled for next week. So
How are they heating right now?
I guess they have a generator on
somewhere,
site
yeah.
or something.
They're heating inside the building?
Yeah.
The new
This is
building?
working
I
on
imagine they got
generators or
I
something.
imagine they got big
Looks
bucks.
like Red
for
is shaking his
construction
head.
license.
We know something.
They do have a generator up there.
The main thing really for this week was the deck framing, a soffit installation, and the VR car framing and electrical roughing. And next week is going to be the underground hydro line, and I'd imagine they're going to get the right equipment for that because the ground must be surely frozen by this time of year.
Might be up
Does it
there
get
to a
really
certain
good?
degree.
They have the conduits are installed, so
Foot or
they're
two
pulling the
in
wires through the
time.
conduits.
With regards to the downtown revitalization project, we're working on completing the tender. We had put that ready for tender, but we did get feedback from general contractors that some information was missing, and we did contact the architect that prepared that, and we did receive a quote to finalize it, but other various companies that we did reach out to with regards to that pricing all gave back different information in order to finish the contract, to finalize that contract. So it ranges from, one is saying that we need a architect to put their stamp on the pavilion. Another one is saying that, they need to have a geotechnical evaluation on the site. So part of what we want to do is just determine what is, the bare minimums that we need to get in terms of documentation to allow the general contractors to get, a very definite price, fixed price for this project. I mean, the more detailed the information is, it means that, we can get a better price for that instead of them putting in, pricing in the contingency, or in this case, they didn't have enough information. They were, again, more comfortable doing kind of a unit price or, time and materials contract. Of course, the risk with that is you may have a budget in mind, but if there's any changes that aren't clearly specified, right, we're gonna end up paying more than what we intend on meeting for that budget. So part of this is, again, we're trying to finalize the pricing for, again, the remaining mechanical drawings and everything else that's needed for it, and hopefully get that tender ready sometime by the end of Feb to March.
Nathan, are you talking primarily in regards to the summer pavilion building?
Yes, exactly.
So obviously there's final drawings not for that facility yet?
Well, what we did do a contract, I believe this was $35,000 with a landscape architect, but there were various components, for example, like engineering and HVAC, plumbing,
Right.
that was required for that building, that she did not complete. So part of that is when we reached out to her, it was, she said that she no longer had enough money in that budget to complete the remaining work. In order to get that going, she did quote about, I think it was about $5,000 more in order to finish the remaining engineering work. But that being said, the contractors that I was talking to in the Thunder Bay area were referring to, a whole specifications document. They want kind of what, if you've seen that, like almost like 300-page booklet for the Discovery Center that goes into all the fine details about, again, from things from bill of material finishes to instructions how to install things. Again, more specific it allows us to ensure that, contractors are not cutting corners with regards to the project. And that's part of what we have to do next is, again, get those specific details. We have really good landscape architectural drawings, but, where the pavilion is concerned, that's where a lot of the engineering and architectural components for that, like building architecture, needs to be kind of improved. So,
I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that facility, the building, is not intended for year-round use.
yes, there's only the section at the back of the building that's going to be insulated and heated
Right.
For year-round
So that
use,
that
but-
ought to eliminate a lot of the red
Yes.
tape, put it mildly,
Mhm. That's where we need to get confirmation from, again, different engineering groups are giving different information, and maybe that they're trying to sell their services, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Nathan?
Do you foresee that construction next year?
Yes, definitely. They were trying to push this to have the construction completed next year from, again, just preliminary estimates from the current architect. She believes it would take about approximately only 2 months to do the entire project, so,
That's all?
yeah.
Wow.
But again, we have a short construction season, so it's, we want to make sure that everything is ready to go and ready to tender at least by March.
Right on.
But the metal roofing for the Discovery Center, is that going this year?
According to their construction schedule, they wanted to have everything done by, end of December, so.
I'm almost to the point, any outside work. Not gonna pay it,
Yep.
I mean, they can say they wanna do it, but I've been around this construction long enough to know it's pretty shabby work when it's 40 below. You're not getting your best work.
That's something I can reach out to
They're
the
working
company.
outside now underneath, doing the soffit.
Yeah. And if you're inside, that's fine too, like you're running a probably a heater and that, but
That's
the
something we'll
outside.
have to check with them and find out what their
Mhm.
idea is on that. Okay, next up, the local business meet and greets.
So the plan to develop this kind of project was outlined by our Community Economic Development Coordinator. And part of it is kind of the date and time needs to be decided for this meeting. I think in general, we last discussed it was something we wanted to do in January, I believe. Is that correct? Yep. The venue and layout, that has to be determined. Where exactly it's going to be happening. The promotion and marketing will have to be finalized. Also, whether there's going to be food and drink. So all these details still need to be fully finalized, and Dominic will be helping to coordinate that.
He's gonna coordinate that with the Economic Development Committee?
Well, at this point, it would be council's decision again, kind of like you did the Christmas party, to kind of determine what exactly you want. If it's helpful, what I can have Dominic do is to put in the best proposal that fits, again, the best place for it and all as a suggestion, and we can see if that's if that works for council.
What date would you be looking to do this?
Well, I would suggest that near the end of January, because if we do, well, you're going to Toronto in second week or the 18th. And there's a couple of other meetings I know of starting the first couple of weeks of January. So.
Yeah, we wanna meet with Stephanie for the first couple of weeks.
So I think it would be closer to the end of the month. Of course, that's last year.
So this first meeting, I mean, it was, my thinking, it was just kind of a informal get-together to kind of listen to all the business owners and kind of get a feel for what they're thinking and what they're up against, and kind of come up with, you know, what can we do as a council to assist in any way or promote business. I'm not really sure what will come out of the first meeting, but it's more listening than trying to market anything.
And I think that's the consensus around the table, right? It's going to be an informal
Right.
kind of gathering. At most, you'd be having just maybe coffee or maybe a few snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to do something, get some feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Okay.
if the plan is good to go ahead so far with what you've outlined here, the next step would be then to develop the proposal for the event, which Dominic could work on with Evan
Sure. That sounds good.
finalize for council.
Yeah.
So if you were looking at a venue with one of the local businesses, do you have to put it out for tender? Or you pick the one that's gonna suit our needs, or how would you go about doing that?
You could ask first to see who would be, interested in it, and if that's the case, right? If anyone is interested for the get-together, and if we are going to be, again, purchasing any food, then it would have to be, properly getting quotes, so we'd have to properly tender it out. If it's, again, just informal, ideally you'd want to have a plan to kind of cycle it through different businesses and all with the ones that are interested.
Yeah, like looking ahead, yeah.
Or that's just, again, a suggestion like that, but yeah, it's a good point. If I think that just because, again, of the political nature, if council does decide to choose one business over another, right, it would be perceived, right, that you're favoring a certain
Right.
business, so
Maybe
you want to keep it a bit competitive.
Maybe you'd want the first meeting in room 124 or something like that.
Yeah,
or the gym.
yeah.
Well, I would suggest.
Yeah, I mean, if it's
That would be a
just-
more neutral kind of
if it's
space.
just an informal thing, yeah. Doesn't have to be fancy, yeah.
And come stemming out of that meeting, you may get some businesses that may
Yeah.
want to get volunteer to
Yeah.
do it.
Okay. Senior Center meeting minutes. There's October and November there, and the strategic planning presentation.
So the meeting minutes, they have one recommendation. And, it's at the bottom of the amended minutes. It's recommended that signage be placed on the exterior of Schreiber Municipal Complex, as well as a large sign be placed in the foyer. So that's, I mean, there's not a lot of details there. My suggestion was that the committee provided more details on what exactly they wanted, so, I mean, this is the recommendation, now what do we do with it? I mean, they're saying, you know, we want a sign, and there's no real details on what exactly they want, so, I mean, who's gonna decide what the sign is, how much it's gonna cost, and so on.
What do they want on this sign?
Just a
Well,
directional thing, tell people the senior
yeah,
center's in this building.
Yeah,
more or less,
they just wanna
Label
make
it.
sure that people can understand that there is a senior center in this building, and then directional signs on how to get there when they're in the building, so.
So I think like council is okay with the idea of the signage being placed. I think the questions that would need to be asked is if approved, right? Then the senior coordinator should provide, you know, a proof of what the signage is gonna look like
Right.
and a quote for council to then approve to go ahead.
Yeah, and
That's the next stage.
And that's kind of what I thought, and I did suggest that, but, I mean, at least we're getting the ball rolling here. So.
Yeah.
Like a sign, like, on the outside of the building. and-
Yeah.
Yeah, Schreiber Senior Center.
Yeah,
Front and back?
Yeah,
Probably.
don't mention that either, yeah.
Probably just the front, and then come in and you'd find your.
Is there
But you can
any
ask them.
directory at the hall inside to show any things that are in this?
Inside
Just
here,
that one
yes,
there, but it's.
the one
Yeah.
right near the painting.
yeah. Yeah, the thoughts were that's not really eye-catching.
No, you see it if you come in the front on this side, but not over there.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
That's something
But it's
else.
not that anybody that's looking for the place is gonna have any issue getting
It is
there.
anyways, yeah.
You know, like,
Makes it a bit more professional though, if something's
Yeah.
labeled.
Yeah, and if anybody's driving around from out of town, they see,
Yeah,
Wanna
Senior
drop
Center, they
in.
may wanna
drop in and
for-
see what's going on.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea too. Yeah. Okay, high law enforcement report. Any questions on that? Busy month for her.
Looks quiet.
No questions on that then? Building permits and demolition permit report.
Those are so hard to understand when you start looking at the numbers on them, since it's something like, oh, million, whatever, blah, 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 and its assessment value versus its actual cost of the permit, right?
Right. I wonder if we could fix up those headers to say that. you know?
Because it seems very vague sometimes when you look through it, yeah.
Okay. Maybe like definitions for some of the headers,
Uh-huh.
that's helpful.
Yeah.
well, what about a location? Don't you think that would help?
Well,
Well, it's
it's,
there.
On the second one though, they've got, like, see, they'll have the second one for the
Is that
addresses.
related to the,
it's really.
Yeah, but then you gotta go back to the month one, and look at the month and say, okay, in December, well, nothing's in December yet. Cause even that's confusing, you look at when these permits were issued, there's not even a date of any kind on there to tell you if these were, like the second part of the chart, you've got 1, 2, 6, 8, let's say, things, that was the building permits 2019. But is that for the year? I'm sure there's more than 8 or 10 building permits for the year, or is that for last month? Because you don't, this doesn't tell you really anything as far as date.
Is that you using the second chart, right?
Yeah, that little second chart, shows permit numbers, whatever, but, there's no dates there, so how do you
But
correspond
you
that
go
back?
back to, you can get to a month. You just don't get to a specific date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize my surname on that.
We can talk to, again, our front staff and
Mm.
Yeah.
let them know to
Fix it up a
update
little
this
bit.
report.
Okay. Very good. And then we have our aqua reports, wastewater. Any questions on those reports?
Is that right, the tower, what do they call it,
The storage
Storage
tank?
truck?
well, there's another particular name for it, standpipe,
Yeah.
right? That is in use on a daily basis.
Yep.
Like, water from there is running into the community.
Yeah.
Every day now.
And being fed, of course, you know, so that's a daily thing.
Yep.
Or does it vary at all, or I suppose doesn't need to be a variance, but,
I think it's the final stage now, doesn't everything come out of there in the end?
Yep.
They just keep topping it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe that's how it's supposed to be.
Once the water is treated, it's again.
goes in?
Goes and it's stored into that.
yeah, that is treated water up there.
Right.
So actually, what you just mentioned, like, everything's coming out of there now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it feeds everything after that, yeah.
The only difference now is if there's a problem in the water
In
treatment
the water
plant,
Right enough
plant,
of a backup.
they
on
can
the
shut the
ground
plant
level,
down.
Yeah,
you've got that.
And feed the tank.
yeah, you're back up.
Yeah, okay, I understand, yeah.
So there's no more boil water advisory.
Yeah, because some people
Yeah.
thought like that too, that they said, oh, they're still using the
It
plant
just sits
normally.
there.
Well, yeah.
And when they need that, they pull it in,
Right.
but it's not, that's actually, that's the final exit for everything,
Okay, we move into question period. I guess we got no questions this evening.
yeah. Next.
Yeah, communications. That one from Luke Deneau, request for feedback. That was the fellow who came in from Smooth Rock.
Yeah,
If anyone has any feedback that they want to give for Luke Denault, I guess just visit my office and let me know.
Yeah.
And I can send up an email to him
Sure.
by the end of the week.
Number 8,
Yes, street lighting concerns?
yeah, I took a ride by there the last 2 nights, and seeing that's a main intersection, I kind of agree, like, and I don't know if we have any extra ones laying around or whatever, but
Are you talking about Thrill Hill?
no, in front
No,
of Sue and Lenny's place at the church corner.
Ontario and Winnipeg.
Across from the Anglican Church.
Yeah,
Because the light below Thrill Hill has been out for a good while,
Oh, yeah.
the street light.
Do we have extra lights, Red?
Well, we might have a spare up there still, but I'm gonna get a pricing on for the mast and the fixture and see how much it is.
Okay.
As far as light being out here or there, we're gonna do a light check one of these evenings and make a list, and when they come back to put up take the Christmas lights down, we'll get those repaired.
Get those fixed, okay. All right.
I think number 10 is something that we should show support for, only because the way that they're saying it is that it's expensive to run and some of the conferences, if you were to go to a lot of them, don't amount to a lot. And not only that, but you could be looking at weather conditions where all of a sudden you miss something, and then you spend a bunch of money, or you've organized something, and then there's no connection to what actually happened.
Right.
Because we missed our flight to Ottawa last Monday, and that storm
Was that right?
Yeah, we got
Oh,
pushed
yeah.
back a whole day and lost a day at our conference as well because of that. We got there, but it was like
What
a
happened
day
to
late.
us in Ottawa, we had to take the train,
So
so we
we-
missed the minister's meeting because we didn't
Yeah.
get there on time.
At least if you had this as a backup, you could be sitting in your hotel,
Mhm.
tuned into the thing, and
Yeah. How does everybody feel?
well, that was just my thing, is that we should, it seemed like it was a noble thing, kind of thing to support.
Show our support for that then?
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one.
Okay.
I'd like to bring up number one, MPAC.
Okay.
If you read through that, they're pleased to announce the board has approved MPAC's 2020 budget that includes an overall municipal levy increase of 1.9%, which is lower than in past years, but, so what exactly does that mean? That the overall municipal levy increase of 1.9? You know, like, that's in regard to each and every residential property?
I read
or-
it to mean the percentage for the tax increase, is that right?
Yeah, it's like, it's gonna be like, you know, taxing authorities, like, for instance, the school board, so, it's gonna be essentially their portion from the tax levy that will be going back to fund, MPAC.
So that's what whatever they charge is gonna be raised by 1.9%, whatever their fee is. Is that what you're saying?
It would be their portion from our general tax
So
levy.
whatever they charge us to do the assessment is raised 1.9%.
Mhm. For their funding.
And that assessment is happening next year.
In 2020.
And well, I mentioned to you before, Nathan, about the possibility of having a meeting with
Mhm.
these people if and whenever that takes place. I mean, certainly, you know, I'm sure we're all on the same page in regards to that concern.
Yeah.
When we saw them in Ottawa, we were visiting, they had a booth there, and
Yeah.
one of them did say that they planned on traveling through the municipalities to talk to people, but there hasn't been anything since. I don't know, that was 6 months ago.
They're also planning to travel here to do, how do they adjust assessments one way or the other without being here?
Yeah, the boots on the ground.
Yeah,
In 2020,
you know,
yeah.
that's when I'm saying that they ought to meet with council here, and we can express our concerns on behalf of the residents.
You mean as a corporation when they meet, or as when they do individual assessments? Every time a house is sold, you'll see the car drive through town.
Well, the 2020 is the year for
Yeah.
4-year assessment.
Or a reassessment.
Reassessment.
So they're gonna be here at some point.
Yeah, because every time a house is sold, you'll see them drive by in that white station wagon.
Well, I don't know anything about white station wagons.
No, but they're here, with their name on the side of
But
it,
you
you see
know what
them.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
but you're talking about getting the corporation here to discuss their plans for 2020.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, that,
It's not a bad idea.
that ought to be
Yeah.
easily arranged.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah, we can just
just,
request them to come down and talk to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
tell us what they're up to.
Yeah. Alrighty.
I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't surprise them to get this request from us
No.
with
Well,
what's
we won't be
happened
the only
here.
ones requesting it. I imagine they'll get quite a few. Alrighty, anything else on communications?
So what are we saying about number 8, about that street light? What are we doing, getting a price or getting one installed, or?
I'll find out we got one and then get a price to get it installed, I guess. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, unfinished business. Decorating, what night is good for everybody to go around and look at the lighting?
How cold it was last year too, eh? You were driving around in the
Yeah,
truck.
you bet.
It was nasty. What, was that the 20th or so of December then?
I think so.
Around the same time, eh?
It's kinda nice and warm in the truck.
In the truck, but when you had to get out, knock on the door, it's like, oh.
Well, what's good for everybody next week? 18th. It's no good for me, I'm in Thunder Bay, but.
19th
Or
is
after.
bad because that's the drive around with the kids thing. what are they doing?
Oh, fire
The-
department?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're driving around Carol's with the kids.
Wanna go to Monday or Tuesday, is that?
It's no good for me.
No.
I don't need to.
When's our, economic
Wednesday.
development? That's Wednesday, so
Yeah.
that's out.
So that's,
Yeah, well, I'm in Thunder Bay Wednesday anyway.
yeah, that's 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
20th is a Friday.
That might be the only day.
What about,
Week before
do we
Christmas.
plan on doing the same as what we did last year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
In the fire truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 20th I'm out of town,
So you might wanna contact Jan here.
Yeah, talk to him
First.
tomorrow, yeah. We'll see him tomorrow.
If,
Yeah, we'll talk to him tomorrow and then we'll go from there.
again, we're running short on days,
Well,
guys.
yeah.
If the 16th and 17th work out better for you guys, even though I'm gonna be in Thunder Bay, knock yourselves
Yeah.
out and do it, because we're running short on days.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also,
I mean,
does
as
everybody
long-
have their decorations out right now? Because a lot of people wait till like the week before.
No,
I
I
haven't
think they
seen
have,
very many.
I think they have them out by now.
I don't have mine on.
What day did we go around last year?
I think it was the 20th or
20th,
something.
it was around there.
Around the
Yeah.
20th, yeah.
Well, that would work.
Yeah, except that's, some
I'm out of town.
Fridays, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, whatever.
but I mean, as long as there's at least three of us.
Yeah, the 16th, 17th
Three or four
work for you guys,
yeah.
like I say, go for it. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
unfortunately, I won't be here, but that's okay too.
How many stops are we making on this junket?
20.
20.
20, eh? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That was last year too?
Yeah.
It didn't take that long, really.
No, it was an hour and a half
No,
or
it
something
didn't.
like that.
Yeah. Nice ride up the hill.
To the lake
Yeah.
and back, yeah.
Well, we'll talk to Jan tomorrow and if say the 16th or 17th is all right with him. and
That's
if-
next Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check with Jan tomorrow then and we'll make a decision.
Works for me.
Alrighty. Draft bylaw of the Aqua Agreement.
Why do I have a flag here for December 30th, December 13th, Acadian Remembrance?
That's just generic, I think. It shows up there.
But did we not do something for that last year?
No.
With the French flag?
That was in the summer, the French flag.
That's what I thought, and I'm just looking at it
It
and
was
I'm
the
thinking.
Franco-Ontarian Day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's just another holiday then, okay.
Where did you flash that up?
I just went to my calendar.
It's probably on my iPhone too.
See where it says when you go back to your apps there, it says calendar, Tuesday, shows Tuesday the 10th right now.
Never mind.
I'll show it to you on your front page.
All the holidays show up there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Automatically.
Because sometimes, if someone sends you an email with appointment thing and you tap on it, it also loads it in.
Right.
Puts it into your notes so that you can organize your appointments.
Yeah, true.
That's why I saw it and I went, wait a minute, that's Friday. I don't remember anything about that.
Holy man, this Aqua thing goes on forever.
They do the reports.
Well,
Yeah.
agree.
Any questions or anything with that
With
agreement,
that,
or?
are we ready to?
What was the percent, I'm just trying to look for the percentage increase, because we talked about that before too, but they don't actually mention it as a number, do they?
For-
It's just a renewal for their services for the next 32
Exactly.
years.
The next 10 years.
And yeah, it's
'Cause
ranging,
We had somewhere where we had a thing, I don't know if it was in the budget one or whatever, and it showed the percentage that was going to be allowed.
that percentage increase, you're
Yeah.
probably thinking of the insurance. I think it was in that document where they showed.
You're going,
Part of it.
you're
Okay,
talking.
I thought it was
you're
there.
talking a while back though.
Yeah, it was a while back, and I haven't seen any
Not in
other
comparison.
numbers.
Oh, okay, that was
Yeah,
in May.
that's right, it was between Aqua, and what was the other one's called?
Northern Waterworks?
Yes, that's right.
June.
It was back.
Yeah.
It was
It is
back,
there.
yeah, I just didn't see anything.
No, it's
in
back,
here,
it's
but
here,
already.
it's on page 34 of 44.
Oh, is it that part, okay.
Yeah, it's scheduled.
In the agreement though, not the amendment.
During,
Yeah, if you're talking the comparison, that was back at the RFP stage, but the breakdown of the payments, that's on, towards the end of.
No, Kevin's right, it was on page 34, yeah. That's what I was looking for, because it breaks down every year up until 2029.
Right.
and then 2024, basically, what we're paying now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was one of the features of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just the thing about the chemicals seem to stay the same
Yeah, I
every
hear
year.
that.
Yeah, we talked about that part.
So is everybody fine with that then?
Yep.
Okay.
They've been good so far.
Alrighty. And, anything else we need to do on that?
We'll bring that all forward at the special council meeting.
Yep, on Friday. Okay, we'll go into other business then, insurance renewal proposal.
This came in,
Excuse me.
last week, and looks like insurance rates for municipalities will keep going higher and higher, and they've put in a paragraph explaining why, but.
17% year over year.
Mhm.
Is this proposal lower than
Then.
our existing?
No, it's gone up. Our existing, we are with.
We are with Vino?
Vino
Yes.
and the VFL, so.
Okay.
What does the insurance actually cover?
So, this would be, again, a almost basically $80,000 for general liability, public entity errors and omissions. That's if we make any mistakes in any of the permitting, or we say something and it's not true. Standard non-owned automobile liability, that's gonna be, again, supposing you're driving to a destination like a conference with your own vehicle because you're driving for town related work, you'd be covered for that if you were in an accident. Environmental impairment liability, asked for clarification for that, but that I believe is for any sort of environmental contamination, but I'm still waiting for the definition for that. Comprehensive crime liability, that's if anything is stolen. Property insurance, we have a schedule of all properties listed that we own. Equipment insurance, we have a schedule of all equipment that we want to have insured. Automobile insurance, we have a schedule for all our vehicles that we want insured. And finally, municipal officials accident insurance, and that's to cover the councilors for any accidents.
And service interruption, that would be, I guess, from what I understand, it would only be like when we had that electrical storm and everything was down for the day.
Service interruption under.
Page 7 on that one.
Let me see there.
Because service interruption, that's pretty broad. If if you have flooding because of a service interruption, but what if your computers are damaged? Because they're also covered separately as well, right? For data and backup and things like that.
Yeah, it's a service interruption.
And that's pretty broad, because let's say one of the services that was interrupted was the water plant. It seems like a strange thing in there with everything else that's in there, like ammonia, hazardous substance, blah, 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 and then service interruption.
Yeah, again, the definition of there where it says, like, for instance, even like simple ones like spoilage, food and all like that.
I would think the only vehicles that need to be covered or are covered are vehicles that are owned by the township. If I'm driving to Thunder Bay with you in my vehicle and we're going to
conference or
It was something like that. Well, we're insured on our own.
Yeah.
You know, we're not running on, why are we paying, you know, it's not township insurance is why I'm going. I'm going because I've got my own insured vehicle. So I don't understand, like you mentioned, unless it's a township vehicle.
It's for the purpose because you're doing essentially, you're going on this conference because you're doing town business. So it's, for instance, if I was, this applies for all the employees as well. If we're conducting some sort of business, right, it's essentially, it's, if there was some sort of accident, right, you would say that you were on this destination and on this trip to do the town's business, right? So it's to cover that in case you go through your insurance and everything, and let's say they want to challenge it and ultimately sue the municipality.
Well, I don't understand why there would be a challenge if I'm.
Well, if I'm bringing my vehicle up to a conference or whatever, I'm going on town business,
You're
or getting an
basically-
accident, I wanna go through the town insurance and then I'd rather go through the town insurance
Yeah,
than my own insurance.
Mhm.
My own insurance is gonna go
Yeah.
sky high.
You're basically an employee.
Your
At
insurance
that
might
point.
not cover you. If you're on town business, they're
Yeah,
going to say, then you go through the town insurance company.
You gotta watch yourself too, Dave's
Yeah.
right there, sometimes.
Good point, but, you know, that's, who knew, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, while you're doing town business, you're covered by the municipality.
Yeah, I just,
What about cyber insurance? Is that something we have right now, or is this optional?
They mentioned this in here about us, that was
It's
something.
on
else
page
we thought,
22.
Yeah.
Seems to be a portion which we are covered for, I believe, and something that's extra. Let me just pull this up.
Like you hear all the horror stories about municipalities being
Hacked.
tagged by hackers and held for ransom, and because they have insurance is the reason that they're doing it.
Even said especially high risk with the smaller municipalities, funny enough, when we
Yeah.
talked about that, yeah.
Like, but from what I understand, we do have backup systems for our network, correct?
Yes, we have backup
Yeah.
all in place.
So if we're
it's
hacked,
paid for.
if we're hacked, everything's backed up on a daily basis.
Yes.
And the only reason we would be hacked is if we opened up, somebody opened up something that was, easy enough to do.
There are, yes, we have security in place for that.
Yeah.
Won't go into too many of the details to,
Yeah,
just so
you
we
don't-
have some cards up our sleeves.
Yeah, you don't wanna broadcast what your defenses are, but.
Yep.
yeah.
But as far as insurance for
Mhm.
that type of activity, then we do have it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I seen something in here that just popped out. It was drone insurance.
Mhm.
Do we have a drone?
No, we don't have a
Not yet.
a drone that we own.
Yeah,
We've used,
yeah.
Can,
But
yeah.
but if you do own one, you need insurance. So.
And at this time, I don't know if we would require a drone, would we?
Well,
I don't know.
Never know.
Well, yeah, I mean, we might, and then we'd have to look at the insurance end of it, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's that expensive.
an interesting one is again the volunteer accident insurance, which can be added on. It looks like they cover, it's about $75 for 10 volunteers. So
Per
that
year?
may be, yeah, it's right at the end.
Oh.
So I thought that the pricing for that
Well, that's very low for.
Yeah.
is
And I
pretty
think we need-
beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that for sure.
That's page 46.
Mm.
And it's one of the last few square bullet points on the page. It's the $75 plus for 10 volunteers. may be beneficial having, because right now it's, they wouldn't be covered. That's why, I want them to fill out all the forms for identification.
So, we need to have this approved by the end of the year.
Yes.
And this, at this point in time, is the only insurance we can go with, but next year we'll have the opportunity to look at something else. Just the timing of it, the way it happened.
It's the time to do the RFP would be in August, and with the changeover we had, unfortunately, at that time, it was it was difficult to get the RFP out. So yeah, definitely in about August next year, we would be doing tender again for this, but the market is really small. It's a small
There's
market.
not very many insurance companies that do municipal insurance, so you are limited in that respect, but it doesn't hurt to look around at whatever is out there.
I'd imagine at most you may save about 10 to 15 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all, it looks like we're all lumped into the same pile, eh?
Yeah.
Whether you're not making any claims or whether you're making lots of claims,
Yeah.
your insurance is still going up substantially. so.
It's the joint, that joint severable liability that, unfortunately, it's that no matter, what happens.
That's the nature of the game.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, it's different with personal health insurance because you can always shop around.
Oh, yeah. Lots of different places, but.
Because that's also been taking a big jump this year.
It's huge. Yeah. So we okay to move ahead with that then?
Yeah.
Ready? Then we'll go to draft bylaw 50-2019.
So the purpose of this bylaw was to amend our agreement with Parks Canada for the Discovery Center interpretive programming budget component. And the reason we had to do it again was because we did have a change in contractors. We ended that contract with the current interpretive programmer that we had. And part of that is due to that we will have no expenses incurred during this fiscal year. So what we're basically doing is just shifting the fiscal years for repayment into 2020 and 2021. Pretty straightforward amendment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so everybody's fine with that then?
Bring that forward Friday too.
On Friday, yes.
So 2:00 on Friday?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Okay, then, with there being nothing else, resolution number 395-19, moved by Councillor Staffier, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the meeting now adjourned at 8 p.m. All those in favor? I think that was pretty close to the last time, too.